So I'm on my way to work and shit like that, man. And y'all know, of course, due to the vibrations and the frequencies and shit, I took off my undershirt, wrapped it around my head. I used one of my necklaces as, something to just prop up on top of my new fashion crown. Because, like, literally in this world that we live in, you have to, treat your own self like a king or a queen, right? Because there's gonna be nobody that, like, truthfully validates you, right? So yeah, and I wrapped my jacket around my waist like a garment because I'm the Prince of St. Louis. Cosmic feeling, what's the word, y'all, man? The boy been going through some storms and shit lately, man. But I've been surviving, man, thanks to the Most High. But I'm really hopping on this video, man, to just basically just let y'all know that everything is good with me, man. Everything is fine. Lately I ain't really been able to, post like I want to, simply because I've been trying to get myself out of, some storms, man. I've been trying to go within. There's a bunch of nets and shit around here, But basically, man, your boy's finding out a lot of shit about these youth homeless shelters, about these, subsidized housing, about these Section 8 vouchers, low income shit. Everything associated with housing and how we live is tied into a lot of, non-profit organizations and shit like that, right? Simply because a lot of these non-profit organizations, like, youth homeless shelters and shit like that, offer Section 8. They offer low income housing, right? To individuals that can't pay it, but it's always loopholes and regulations and shit that you gotta follow, right? Just to get, just to get a room. And Peter and Paul, which is a homeless shelter down here in St. Louis, just to get, your own little apartment, where you got a bathroom, where you got a motherfucking shower and shit like that, just to get that, you gotta classify it in their database as a mental patient, right, who has, mental issues such as bipolar disorder, ADHD, whatever like that, and then they'll allow you to basically diagnose yourself. So a lot of motherfuckers that want this space and shit like that are only looking at, oh, how the fuck can I get my own place and shit like that quicker? Let me say I'm a mental patient. Let me say this and that, right? And they can use all that shit against you in the past. We gotta change locations, man. It's too many nets over there. Alright, y'all, man. Hopefully this is better. So basically, man, just to, even, prove yourself eligible, just to claim eligibility for these, little apartments and shit that they got in these youth homeless shelters and shit, you gotta, plead insanity, damn near, right? And it's like, it's really taking a lot away from you at the end of the day. It's taking a lot from us, right? Because our people don't know, man. Shit, our people are probably some of the most lost among this earth, simply because we don't know the loopholes and shit that they have in store for us. Like, we don't know that they're doing a lot of this shit, a lot of this non-profit shit, a lot of this youth homeless shelter shit, a lot of this motherfucking, homeless shelter shit is for the tax write-offs. Like, people donate for tax write-offs. So it's like, who do we think that we are fooling when we plead insanity, or we plead that we have some type of mental disorder, just to get their services and shit, right? Because in the eyes of the government, they looking at it like, in the eyes of the government and shit, they looking at it like we can't supply for ourselves. So they got food, so we gonna give them food stamps. And yeah, just let them know, if they don't pay on them food stamps and shit, if they don't pay that shit back, we gonna, make their ass old. We gonna put them on child support. We gonna do this, we gonna do that. Shit, I ain't got food stamps, I ain't got Medicare, I ain't got Medicaid, I ain't got none of that shit. Yet, I'm in a, homeless shelter. understand me because I'm not falling for that shit. I'm not falling for that bullshit that they want to put on a nigga. I'm not falling for their schemes, for their plots and for their plans and shit. Like, they not finna have me plead insanity again. They not finna have me mark on no fucking list that I got mental issues and that I had thoughts of suicide, right? Because they'll ask you that number one question: have you ever thought about hurting yourself because of your situation? Fuck yeah, everybody has up in this situation. Whether it's you doing drugs, whether it's you cutting your wrist, everyone has suffered and shit like that. Of course, we're gonna say that we're going through mental issues. The whole problem thinks that we're stupid, or the whole world thinks that we're stupid. The whole world thinks that we are, just a scum or the bottom. Damn straight, them same individuals won't plead insanity or plead that something's wrong with them. That's crazy. Shit, nigga just be going through shit. But when we mark on that paper that we going through these mental issues, and when they put it in their system like, oh, that he's a mental patient, he's a client, this and that, then that's when it only really, starts affecting us. Because now they making money off of us. Now they can tell these, donors and shit like that, hey, we're helping mental health patients. Now they start not approving you for shit because you mental health, right? Because you Section 8, right? All that shit is a trap for the black community. Shit, everybody and their mama got a fucking house on Section 8, got a house on subsidized rent. Everybody. I thank the Most High every day that I ain't got no felonies. I thank the High Most every day. I thank the Most High every day that I ain't out here committing no crimes and shit. They can get me caught up with their ass because I know that they won't. And when you a black man in America and you know that you a fucking target, you have to move like you don't want them niggas to get the bullseye. Don't let them give you a stick. Don't give them a stick to hit you with. My supervisor told me before she terminated me from my job, right? And I didn't give her a stick to hit me, but she made some shit up. But that's just life sometimes. Motherfuckers really do be on bullshit. Sometimes it don't be us. Sometimes it just be the world. Sometimes it just be our lack of knowledge of self and of the world that we live in. Like, my parents and shit grew up on Section 8. My parents and shit grew up on low income housing and shit. How were they ever going to tell me how to properly get my own crib? If the way that they're telling me that they, how could my parents ever possibly tell me the right way to get a crib if they themselves got it through low income housing or Section 8 or this and that, if they didn't even work and grind their ass off, like they say, right? And that's exactly kind of what happened, right? Yeah, I got my own crib, but it's like, it was in a way harder for me, or at least it felt so much harder for me because I was actually doing it the proper way, right? So yeah, of course, I didn't keep my first apartment when I was 18 years old. Of course, you had ups and downs and shit in life where your supervisor fucked